So, welcome back to yet another episode where we talk about something interesting within the legal sector and something you probably should know. So, my name is Yolanda Mnyengeza, and I'm the attorney and director of Mnyengeza Attorneys, and this is a law firm that's situated in Johannesburg. So, what are we talking about today? So today we'll talk about the implications of customary marriages, or getting into or being in a customary marriage in South Africa this day. So in 2000, there was an act that came into operation. It is referred to as the Recognition of Customary Marriages Act. Now, with this act coming into operation, all that had existed before was now articulated in an act, and it was made clear. So today, for you to get into a customary marriage, there's specific requirements you have to meet. And secondly, it is now clear if you are in this marriage, there are certain implications which you should be aware if you're in a customary marriage or thinking about getting into a customary marriage. So let's talk about what the requirements are of getting into a customary marriage. Number one, in order for you to get and be recognized as being in a customary marriage, you need to be over the age of 18 years and you must consent to the marriage. So if you are under the age of 18, your guardian or your parent has to come and consent for you to actually get into the marriage. The second requirement is that the marriage has to be negotiated and entered into in terms of custom. So once that happens, that can then be recognized as a marriage. So if you've met these three requirements in terms of the act, you are now recognized as being married in terms of custom in South Africa. Even though that's the case, there is also an additional requirement on spouses who are married in terms of custom, and that is that they should go register their marriage within 3 months of getting married. Even though that's the case, it doesn't necessarily mean that because your marriage is not registered, that it is not recognized. So, as much as this is a requirement that you register your marriage is still recognized if you have gotten married in terms of custom. Okay, so let's talk about now the implications of customary marriages. Now, I noted to you that in 2000, an act referred to as the Recognition of Customary Marriages Act came into effect. And this particular act gave us or shed some light on some of the things that were a bit tricky prior to having this act. So, what are the implications of getting into a customary marriage today? Number one, if you enter into a customary marriage without signing what we refer to as an antenuptial contract, you are deemed in terms of South African law as being married in community of property. What does this mean? So it means, in essence, whatever the other spouse has is now equally a part of the joint estate, which means that you are now equal owners of your debts, your assets, and everything that you owned separately. So now it becomes part of the joint estate. Number two, what is the other implication? Today, if you want to get divorced after you've married in terms of custom, you now have to do it as per civil marriages as well. So you have to go to court and you have to divorce, whether the marriage has been registered or not registered. So that is the second implication. And I just want to bring out something from this particular angle of divorce. I've noted that some clients or some people have the understanding that maybe because you're in a customary marriage that's not registered, you can just simply move out of the marriage. Unfortunately not. Like I said before, the fact that a marriage is not registered does not mean that it is not recognized. So, in essence, you cannot just move away from the other spouse and decide to go and marry another spouse. No. If you want to be out or get out of a customary marriage, you have to formally divorce as per anyone in a civil marriage, which means you have to go to court and you have to follow the proper procedure to attain a divorce. Otherwise, you are still deemed as married if that doesn't happen. Now, implicitly, when you divorce, everything that you have has to be shared according to the kind of marriage you got into. So like I said, if you did not sign an antenuptial contract, the marriage is deemed to be in community of property. So in essence, if you are married in community of property, you own everything equally, and therefore when divorce comes through, everyone or everything that you own has to now be split equally, which means if you have a pension fund, this must be shared equally. If you've got assets, these must be shared equally. If there are debts that are part of the joint estate, equal partners are going to be the responsible parties to pay those debts, unless of course the parties agree otherwise or the court decides otherwise. Otherwise, this is the particular implication of customary marriages nowadays. Now, lastly, if you are in a customary marriage, specifically let's talk about a monogamous customary marriage. If you are in a customary marriage and your spouse passes away, today you are able to claim as a spouse from that estate should your spouse die without a will. And even if they die with a will, you are able to claim half of the joint estate because you were married in community of property. So those are some of the implications of getting into married into in terms of the Customary Marriages Act nowadays. So all of these implications state that things have changed, and therefore if you want to get into a customary marriage, be certain and make sure that at least you consult an attorney to make sure that this is the kind of marriage or the regime that you'd like to be a part of. Otherwise, like I said, if you do not sign an antenuptial contract, the marriage is deemed to be in community of property. Well, this brings us to the end of our discussion today. Let's meet again next week when we talk about something else within the legal sector. My name is Yolanda Mnyengeza, and I hope to see you again. Don't forget, subscribe to our channel so that you can be notified about all the things that we talk about and each time we upload a video. See you next time.